So Marissa, my bet on trend of the year is distributed content. People consuming content, Facebook Instant Articles, Apple News, which just launched, Snapchat, there's, Google and Facebook have announced a partnership around this. How does Yahoo play in this? I mean, in some ways that's a bet against what you're talking about, people consuming content inside of your apps as opposed to these giant platform apps.
Sure. Well, we've always been a distributor of content, and so we have thousands of publishing partners that publish their articles into Yahoo's system. It could be on our homepage, our finance page, sports, any of our digital magazines. We're really an aggregator of content across the web, and I think that one of the more interesting things that's happening in terms of that content consumption is how things are being consumed. Are you linking out or driving out of the app and onto the web to read an article? Or are you reading that article in a much more native environment where you can take social actions on it, really interact with it, and get the most out of it? And I think everyone's models there are starting to evolve, including ours.
Does Yahoo envision a product that would compete with products like Apple News and Instant Articles, particularly around editorial content not produced by you?
Well, as many people here know, there's a lot of discussion in the industry of should we have an industry standard for publishing that content and making it easier for aggregators to pull that content in a way that still respects the content owner's wishes, et cetera. And so this is a space that we're actively studying. And we actually do both today and have for a long time on Yahoo. So for example, if you go to the Yahoo homepage, you'll occasionally, if you click on an article, see an article that might be written by Vanity Fair or might be written by the Associated Press, but is hosted on a Yahoo page. We also will link out directly to a publisher offline. And now we're just looking at, when we take that paradigm to mobile, what's the best way to drive people to ultimately read those articles and get the most out of them?
Yeah. So let's talk about editorial content a little bit. Part of your model has been to create magazine-style verticals in a bunch of areas, and that's involved hiring a lot of expensive editorial talent, some big-name editors. How's that working?
We are really happy about it. So we've had a tremendous rise, I think, in the quality of our editorial. And so we've been launching new digital magazines since early in 2014. Today we've launched about a dozen or so here in the United States. We've now begun launching them internationally. And because of Yahoo's large audience, the 1 billion users per month, it's easy for us to get a lot of distribution and a lot of awareness of those digital magazines early. And then the editorial quality really allows us to take and extend that and really build it into an audience. And so Yahoo Style is obviously very strong, helmed by Joe Z. Yahoo Tech, helmed by David Pogue, is really strong. And we were really thrilled this summer to bring on Martha Nelson, the former editor-in-chief of Time Inc., to be our editor-in-chief of all of our editorial efforts.
Yeah, as someone in the editorial content creation business, a big question about it, a persistent question about it, is whether advertising revenue can support the creation of high-quality editorial content. What's your reason for thinking it can over the long term?
Well, we have a distributed model, so I should note that our strategy isn't just our own editorial content. We also pull in partner content through our thousands of publishing partners. We also do a lot of work with Tumblr, our social network that generates a lot of rich, long-form content on a variety of topics. And so in our digital magazines, our editors sometimes pursue articles and stories of their own. Sometimes they highlight something that they see on Tumblr. And sometimes we'll pull in, either through algorithm or through editorial choice, great content from our partners. And it really is this pyramid that you can see here on the screen of our own premium original content, but also pulling in partners and user-generated content, because we do realize that not every great story on the web is going to be written and published at Yahoo, and so we want to make sure that we're accessing the best information on the web, the hottest trends, and making sure that those are all reflected in our content and subject areas.
Yeah. How has Tumblr's relationship with Yahoo evolved? I think early on, a lot of us at editorial sites saw a push to sort of Tumblrize content that we didn't think made any sense. Have you evolved away from that, or is that still what you're trying to do?
Well, I think that one of the things that we're seeing is that I actually think that a lot of content can live both on the Yahoo platform and on the Tumblr platform. And in terms of technology, we actually have worked to integrate them together on the back end because content hosting is the same regardless of how you ultimately might display it. But that said, we do think that we want to make sure, to us, there is an editorial flair, a personality, a tone, and a voice on Yahoo. On Tumblr, that voice is really shaped by the blogs that you follow, and it's shaped by the end user. We think there's space for both, and so we are working hard to make sure things like social actions from the Tumblr platform are available across Yahoo. So if you like an article, or if you want to reblog it or favorite it, you can have all of those types of actions. But we do think that there is also a different way and a different place for that type of content.
Let's talk about video content a little bit. I mean, here's a place clearly where the cost is very high, and while the advertiser demand is intense, thank you all, there's a real question about whether it can support the high content costs. I mean, you've had some of the highest costs of all, hiring Katie Couric, the NFL deal, which was reported as a $20 million deal.
Well, we do think that there's tremendous demand from advertisers for video content, such a rich format to convey a message. And we also think that there's a great opportunity to build a marketplace and an exchange. And one of the acquisitions we did last year was BrightRoll, which is obviously one of the largest, if not one of the largest video platforms in the world, the largest here in the United States. And what we're doing there is it almost works like cable television in that we're aggregating together many different sites, Yahoo included, to sell video packages that ultimately meet advertisers' objectives, audiences, demographics, et cetera. And we've had great success with that platform. It's a really terrific company, very well run operationally. We've been really impressed at the opportunities there that we can present our advertisers and the opportunities that provides to really monetize our content well.
How are you thinking about improving the user experience around video advertising in particular? I like Katie Couric, but not enough to watch 30-second pre-roll from Lumber Liquidators.
Well, I think that one of the things we're working really hard with is some of the top brands in the world, because obviously as the ads get better, that experience ultimately gets better. But there's a lot you can do in terms of just interactivity. So obviously one of the large trends in the industry is playing the videos without sound. That does something to get the user's attention, but it's not as disruptive, such that every time you open a web page and a video starts playing, suddenly everyone in the room knows that you're watching a video and what the first 3 to 5 words of it were. And so those types of technologies are areas where we've been pushing to try and make video less disruptive, more enjoyable to the end user, but still something that can attract a lot of attention and really deliver for advertisers.